Hello, welcome back to my channel. So Red's bestie that he calls whenever Joy Nomi's acting up, she was recently arrested for fentanyl possession. And what makes this whole story even worse is the whole fact that she's currently pregnant. So last time we talked about Red's bestie, we revealed that she had announced that she was pregnant on September 13th with her boyfriend. And come to find out, when she was hooking up with Red, she was actually dating this boyfriend that she's currently with. And Joy Nomi ended up revealing in an Instagram live that there's a possibility that Red could be the father due to the timelines, and Red even asked her if he could be the dad, and she said she didn't know. I had a feeling she wasn't doing so hot because when she made her pregnancy announcement, instead of receiving congratulations and people wishing her well wishes, there's people in the comments saying seriously, oh my god, and just in pure shock. So Sarcasm actually broke the news that Red's bestie was arrested. This is her mugshot from her arrest, and side note, so there's no confusion, she was called Julie on this show, but her legal first name is Julianne, and she goes by Julia for short. So, according to court records that Sarcasm got a hold of, Julie was pulled over on September 11th. So this actually happened a few months back, but we're just now finding out about it. And she was pulled over because she had expired license plates. So Julia had a revoked driver's license. So she ended up telling the police officer somebody else's name who had like similar features to her, and when they ended up running that person's name, come to find out that person had warrants. So that was a terrible idea. So she ended up getting arrested. She got her whole vehicle searched, and the cop was like, well, is there anything I'm gonna find in the vehicle since you're being under arrest? And she's like, no. And then while she's sitting there in handcuffs, she's like, oh, actually, now that I think about it, you might find a few pills. She probably knew at that point that the cop was going to end up finding them, and she probably thought, hey, maybe if I, jump ahead of the game and admit to it, maybe he might give me some leniency. So she ended up advising the police officer that there are pills inside the front passenger's door pocket. So the cop reaches in there, he finds 3 red and clear capsules, and there's like a white powdery substance in the middle of them. So Julia was then read her Miranda rights from the officer. She agreed that she understood everything. And then Julia was advised that she was the owner of the vehicle, but she said that the pills that he found were not hers, and she said they were her boyfriend. So she threw her boyfriend under the bus. So the dude that she's currently pregnant with, according to her, he's on drugs too. And so she was arrested. She was taken to jail. So while Red's bestie was sitting in the back of the police car while the cop was driving on his way to jail to drop her off, she starts freaking out because, if you lie about your name, they're going to find out once you go to jail and they fingerprint you. So she tells the cop, she's like, you know what? I did lie to you about who I was because I was freaked out that you would find out that I didn't have a driver's license. And so the cop ended up running her information and found that she was on probation from a felony drug conviction in August of last year. It's a good thing she ended up going to jail for these charges, because say the person's name that she ended up pretending she was, that she gave the officer, say they didn't have warrants. If they would have just gave her a ticket and not took her to jail to fingerprint her, that could have been extra charges on this person that she's pretending she was, and they weren't even there. And that would not have been fair at all. So Julia was arrested. She was charged with felony possession of fentanyl after the cops ended up doing tests on the pills, and they came back positive for fentanyl, which is a Schedule 2 controlled substance. And I apologize if I'm saying this wrong, but it also says there is also parafluorofentanyl, which is a Schedule 1 controlled substance. And that is commonly known as China White. And China White is so dangerous. Like, you guys already know, I used to struggle, and I was a heroin user for many years. And China White had killed more friends than any other drug that I knew. I literally lost 3 friends in a span of a week off less than $10 worth of China White, because that's just how dangerous that is. I'm from Missouri, where Red and Julie's from, and I know St. Louis, the area they're from, China White is predominant over there. So she was arrested, and there was a warrant issued for her arrest on November 22nd. So the warrant was issued, and then it was later served on December 19th, and she was arrested and booked into the St. Charles County Department of Corrections facility. So when she was arrested, she had a cash-only bond that was set at $2,500. So what most likely happened was whenever she got arrested, initially she's probably on a 24-hour hold, and then they ended up letting her go, and then she had this warrant issued later on. And that makes sense because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't believe this because she was just posting recently on Facebook, but she was posting up until December 19th, which is the day she actually got arrested for her warrant. So she is still currently behind bars, probably because she can't come up with the money to post her bond, and she has an attorney that filed for a motion for a bond reduction, but her bond hearing isn't until next week. So Julie was already on probation for 5 years for possession of a controlled substance. So with these charges, this resulted in a probation violation, and she has a hearing on January 18th, and she's probably maybe looking at some prison time being on probation and getting busted with drugs again. You know, I'm shocked the cop didn't initially notice that she wasn't who she was saying she was. Because say they, may have the same hair color, body type. Julie has some pretty identifiable tattoos. She's got the face tat on her forehead, the tats under her eye. We see a tattoo on her chest. So usually those are things that police look for when they're trying to identify who someone is. And you would think that if they're trying to compare pictures, they're going to be like, oh yeah, this picture doesn't have no face tats. And be a little bit confused. I mean, it could have been worse. He could have hit her with driving with a revoked license, and he could have came at her for lying about who she was, but he let her off with that, and I'm assuming probably because she admitted to who she was in the car, even though it was after she was arrested. But I just feel bad for the whole baby in this situation, because we have to remember that she's pregnant. So every time she's using fentanyl and China White, the baby's getting it too, and every time she's withdrawing, so is the baby. That's just a lot for a poor little baby to be going through. And then she's saying the dad's on drugs too, so when the baby comes out, most likely neither one of them are going to be able to have custody of the baby. And so hopefully that baby is able to find a loving home. And I guess we'll find out when the baby gets here if Red is the father or not. Since the dad's white, I think it should be obvious when it comes out. But we don't know. There could be other potential baby daddies in the mix too. But that's it for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think about everything in the comments below. I hope every single one of you guys have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I probably won't make a video for the next day or so because it's my fiance's birthday and I'm going to be spending time with the family. Check out my lashes and cosmetics at AccordingtoAmber.com. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.